Hi, I'm Terry. Welcome to One Man, Two Barts, the podcast. Now it's over to Jack and Jill to entertain you, but I will be back at the end of this video with all the technical detail you need.
If you are a new developer setting up your workflow, or honestly even an experienced one, this is definitely for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because usually, when we talk about setting up a working environment, there is this underlying expectation of assembling a giant, just incredibly heavy toolbox.
Right. Like you need a forklift just to get your project off the ground.
Exactly. You spend your first 3 days on a new project, literally just setting up the infrastructure. You've got your code repository over here, your issue tracker way over there on some sauce platform.
Yeah, and maybe a completely separate wiki you had to spin up on another server entirely.
Right, and it gets so cluttered. I mean, you end up spending way more time maintaining the toolbox itself than actually building anything useful.
Which is incredibly frustrating.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we are looking at the Fossil distributed code versioning system. And Fossil asks a completely different question, which is, what if your version control system was also your entire infrastructure?
It is a profound shift in perspective, really. Because, we just accept all that external clutter as the cost of doing business in modern software development.
Like it's just mandatory.
Right. We think we need a million disconnected web services to function. But Fossil challenges that by giving you this impeccably designed Swiss Army knife.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah, where everything you need is just built right in. It's sitting in a single file, ready to go from the very first second you initialize a repository.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Because to really understand why you would want to customize this environment later on, we first need to establish what is actually inside this Swiss Army knife.
Makes sense.
And the thing that immediately jumps out from the sources is that Fossil features this highly unique built-in web server.
Yes, and that built-in web server is really the foundation of the whole architecture. I mean, Fossil isn't just tracking your code behind the scenes in a command line interface.
Right.
It is literally serving up a complete interactive web interface, either locally or across a network.
And it is not just serving up some bare bones read-only code viewer, right? Like right out of the box, this web server includes a wiki.
Mm-hmm.
It includes a trouble ticket server for tracking bugs. It includes a forum for long-form discussions. And this is wild. It even includes a chat server.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is the sheer elegance of having all these essential project tools synthesized into one single system.
It's just right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Normally, you're duct taping all these different pieces of software together.
Right.
You're managing different logins, dealing with different hosting costs.
Oh, the logins alone.
Right, and praying that an API update on your issue tracker doesn't suddenly break the integration with your code repository.
Which always happens on a Friday afternoon.
Always. But with Fossil, because the wiki, the tickets, the chat, all of it, because they are included natively, it functions entirely as a one-stop design studio.
I mean, imagine the time saved. But I do have to push back a little bit here.
Sure, go ahead.
So, having a built-in chat server and a forum sounds great in theory, but let's look at reality for a second. Every developer I know already has Slack or Teams or Discord open 24/7.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So why would I want another siloed chat system trapped inside my version control software? Isn't that just reinventing a wheel that we've already perfected?
It's a totally fair question.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the context of the data. When you use a third-party chat app, your project's historical context is it's bleeding out of your repository.
What do you mean by bleeding out?
Well, say someone explains a really complex architectural decision in a Slack thread, and then 2 years later, you need to understand why a certain commit was made.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Right. That Slack thread might be deleted or hidden behind a paywall or just entirely impossible to search.
Because it's completely decoupled from the code base itself.
Exactly. When your chat and your forum are built directly into Fossil, every conversation, every bug report, every single wiki edit is stored inside the exact same database as your code. Yeah. You can hyperlink directly from a chat message to a specific line of code or a commit hash, and that link will never break. You aren't just storing code, you're archiving the entire thought process of the project.
In one unalterable location. That makes a ton of sense, actually. The cognitive load of simply setting up external infrastructure can just drain your momentum before you've even written a line of logic.
Exactly.
With Fossil, you initialize it, and boom, your design studio is open for business, and all your context is preserved forever.
It's incredibly powerful.
But having a one-stop design studio kind of creates a new problem, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, what if you don't actually need all those tools for a specific project? Like, what if I am just working by myself?
Right, right. And that leads us perfectly into the power of customizing the Fossil Web User Interface menu. Because, a tool that does everything can sometimes feel incredibly overwhelming.
Right. If you can't turn off the parts you aren't using, visual clutter creates cognitive clutter.
Precisely. And Fossil lets you trim the fat. The Web UI menu can be easily altered to make it entirely your own.
Yeah, the documentation we're looking at refers to this as creating a custom Jill menu,
A deal menu.
which is basically a personalized setup tailored exactly to how you, the individual developer, prefer to work.
So let's follow that solo developer use case you mentioned.
Yeah.
Say you are building an application entirely on your own.
Okay.
You have this amazing built-in chat server and this built-in forum available to you, but you're the only one committing code. You obviously don't need a chat server to talk to yourself.
Exactly. They're just taking up prime visual real estate on your screen. They're just
Yeah.
distracting you from the tools you actually need.
Right, so you can simply remove them from the main menu.
Just hide them completely.
Yep. But it is not just about hiding things. It's about bringing the things you actually use to the forefront.
Like what?
Well, for example, instead of keeping those unused communication tools on the navigation bar, a developer can manually add a special documents menu right to the top level.
Oh, I see. And why is that important mechanically?
Because otherwise, you're forcing yourself to do extra repetitive work. I mean, if you need to access your project documentation on a daily basis, the default setup would normally require you to click into the wiki, navigate through the wiki index, drill down through several layers.
Just to finally find your core docs.
Exactly.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting to me. By making that simple customization, by bringing that documents link right to the main menu, you are physically preventing extra keyboard and mouse work.
Yes.
And our sources specifically point out that this level of customization actively prevents RSI repetitive strain injury.
It is a profoundly important point that the software industry largely ignores.
Right. I was legitimately surprised to see this in the documentation. I mean, it is incredibly rare for a version control system to explicitly focus on saving you physical wear and tear on your hands.
It really is.
As developers, we constantly obsess over software saving time or optimizing CPU cycles or minimizing memory leaks. We almost never talk about saving our literal tendons.
We don't, but it is exactly how we should be evaluating our daily tools. Good software design respects the limits of the human body.
That's a great way to put it.
Think about click friction. Every extra click, every unnecessary scroll, every single time you have to navigate through a nested menu to do a routine task, it adds physical strain.
And over a day, that's maybe a minor annoyance.
Right, but over a week, a year, or a decade of a developer's career, those micro movements compound. RSI is a massive career-ending issue in our industry.
It really is.
So by allowing developers to customize their web UI menu to exactly match their daily workflow, like putting that documents button right where they need it, Fossil elevates itself from a simple code tracker to a fundamental ergonomic tool.
It is exactly like rearranging your physical desk.
Yes.
If you use a specific reference book every single day, you don't keep it in a locked filing cabinet across a room. You keep it right next to your keyboard.
Precisely. You are intentionally removing the friction between your intention and your action. You are molding the tool to fit your hand, rather than contorting your hand to use the tool.
Okay, so now that we understand exactly why we desperately want to customize our menu, to save our time, our cognitive bandwidth, and our physical health, we need to talk about the mechanics.
The how-to.
Exactly. How do we actually build it? Because customization always comes with a dark side, doesn't it? The risk of breaking your environment.
It is the classic developer dilemma. You want to optimize, but you are terrified of misconfiguration.
So let's walk through the exact steps, because they're surprisingly straightforward. To build this custom menu, you drop down to the custom skin area.
Right.
You do this by clicking on Admin in the navigation bar, then clicking on Configuration right there in the actual web server interface.
Once you are inside that custom skin section, you're presented with the underlying configuration. From there, you simply change the code to suit your needs.
So you just delete what you don't want.
Yep. You can delete the menu items you don't want, like the chat server, and add the ones you do want, like your top-level documents link.
Okay, I'll put on my anxious developer hat for a second here.
Let's hear it.
I am deep in the admin configuration. I am deleting code. I am typing in new menu paths. Normally, editing a core skin file in a web system feels like defusing a bomb.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if I make a typo, if I mess up the syntax of the custom skin config, am I going to nuke my whole project? What happens if I make a massive configuration boo-boo?
That's the fear, right?
Yeah. Am I going to be locked out of my own web interface and have to reinstall Fossil from scratch?
I completely understand that panic. I mean, every single developer listening to this has been there.
Staring at a blank white screen of death.
Or a totally corrupted CSS file because of a single missing semicolon in the config file. It's awful. But the answer with Fossil is a resounding no. You do not need to reinstall anything, and you are not going to lose your project.
Oh, thank goodness.
Gosh.
How does it handle a broken skin then?
They've built in an incredibly robust safety net. If you make a bad configuration, which happens to absolutely everyone when they're experimenting with custom layouts, recovering is effortless.
Okay.
You can simply click on the Reset menu to default Values box.
Wait, where exactly is that box? Because if my screen is a mess, I really need to know where the Canic button is.
It is strategically located securely right below the custom skin window. It's always there. You just click that box, hit Save, and you are immediately reverted back to the factory settings.
So it's basically a giant oops button.
Exactly. And let's explain why that Oops button works so flawlessly.
Yeah, how does it do that?
Well, unlike traditional web servers where you are editing loose text files scattered across a sprawling directory structure, Fossil stores everything inside a single SQLite database file.
Your code, your wiki, all of it.
Your code, your wiki, your tickets, and yes, your UI configuration, all in one file.
So when you hit reset, it isn't trying to, like, unspaghettify a corrupted file system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is merely rolling back a specific state within the database. Yeah. It's a clean atomic operation.
That is so smart.
And even if you somehow miss that reset box, the documentation notes an alternative recovery method.
What's that?
Because of how the web server handles state, you can often simply click on your browser's back arrow a few times.
Wait, really? Just hit back.
Just hit back. It returns you to the cached page state from before your bad edit. Then you just fix your typo and save the config from there. You are never permanently trapped by a bad configuration.
You know, this raises a really interesting point about human psychology and software design.
How so?
When, with absolute certainty that you have an infallible oops button, it totally changes how you interact with the software, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It is all about psychological safety. When a system is brittle, when one wrong move forces a total system wipe or a desperate search through Stack Overflow, developers become terrified of the admin panel.
Right. They just stick to the default setups.
Even if those default setups are highly inefficient, even if the extra clicks are literally causing them repetitive strain injury, they won't touch the configuration because the fear of catastrophic failure is just too high.
It's the whole, if it ain't completely broken, don't fix it mentality.
Exactly. But with Fossil, knowing you could just click Reset menu to default values practically begs you to experiment. It invites you to play around.
Try deleting that chat server. Try moving the wiki link to the left.
Try changing the colors. It completely removes the fear of optimization.
It encourages true ownership of your workspace. You aren't just renting space in Fossil's default design. You are actively invited to remodel the house.
And if you accidentally knock down a load-bearing wall during your remodel, the house instantly rebuilds itself.
I love that. Remodeling without consequences. But let's take that a step further, because as developers, we never just build one thing.
Right.
Let's say you have bravely experimented. You knocked down the right walls. You built the perfect Jill menu. It has your documents right at the top. The chat server is hidden because you are a solo dev, and it is perfectly optimized to prevent RSI.
An ergonomic masterpiece.
Yes. But next week, you are going to start a brand new project. How do you use this perfect setup elsewhere?
Oh, yeah.
It would be incredibly tedious if you had to rebuild that custom menu from scratch every single time, clicking into admin and configuration and custom skin, copying and pasting code for every single new repository you ever make.
And that brings us to the brilliance of Fossil's portability. Once you have your own design dialed in exactly the way you like it, it can be easily exported to all your other Fossil repositories. You do not have to rebuild it from scratch.
Okay, I am assuming this export process isn't generating some massive proprietary binary file that I have to lug around on a thumb drive.
Not at all. Saving the new web menu configuration is beautifully trivial. It is simply a short text configuration.
Just a simple string of text.
Just a simple string.
So it's completely lightweight. You aren't dealing with opaque formats or hidden system files.
Exactly. And importing that configuration into an entirely different repository is done using another simple, short text string. You just use these brief text commands to pull your perfectly tailored environment from one project directly into the next.
Wow, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that is a massive philosophical statement about how workspaces should function.
It really is.
Text-based configuration is the ultimate portable format.
It truly is. Text-based configuration strings are powerful precisely because they are transparent and universally readable. They make sharing settings between repositories incredibly lightweight and foolproof.
So I can just send it to a friend.
You could literally copy your configuration string and paste it into a Slack message to a new colleague. They could run that simple text string, and their local Fossil repository would instantly update to feature your perfectly ergonomic, custom-tailored Jill menu in seconds.
That is the definition of infrastructure as code, scaled down to the personal workspace level. You can carry your perfect RSI-preventing workspace around in your pocket.
Save it in a simple text snippet manager.
Or drop it into a team onboarding document. It's so flexible.
Sure.
So taking a step back, let's look at the complete journey we've just been on today.
It's been quite a ride.
It has. We started by completely rethinking the developer environment, moving away from the heavy, cluttered toolbox of disconnected SaaS products and exploring Fossil's Swiss Army knife approach.
Right. We discovered that Fossil operates as a complete, out-of-the-box, one-stop design studio. It gives you the built-in web server, the wiki, the ticketing system, the forum, and the chat server.
And because they all live in the same underlying database, your project's historical context is permanently preserved. It completely eliminates the need to duct tape third-party applications together.
But then we learned that despite giving you every tool imaginable, Fossil doesn't force you to use them all.
Which is key. We walked through the exact steps of trimming the fat. You navigate into the admin configuration, dive into the custom skin area, and create a custom menu that fits your exact workflow.
Like hiding the chat server if you are working solo.
Or pulling your primary documents right up to the main menu to save your wrists from repetitive strain over the long haul.
And most importantly, we learned that the fear of customization is a thing of the past. If you mess up that custom skin, you have the ultimate safety net.
Yep. You just hit that reset menu to default values box beneath the code window, or simply use your browser back arrows and the database rolls back seamlessly. No reinstallation required.
And finally, we saw that this customized, perfectly tailored workspace isn't trapped within a single project silo. Because the configuration relies on simple, short text strings for importing and exporting, your ideal ergonomic environment is completely portable to any other repository.
It is a profoundly developer-centric system. I mean, it gives you all the tools you could ever need, lets you easily hide the ones you don't want, forgives your inevitable configuration mistakes, and lets you carry your setup with you everywhere as a line of text.
It completely changes the physical and mental friction of starting a new project.
It really does.
And I want to leave you with this final provocative thought as we wrap up our exploration today.
Oh, definitely. Let's hear it.
We've talked extensively about how Fossil molds to the developer, but the reverse is also true.
What do you mean?
If a developer's environment fundamentally shapes the very way they think about their code, if reducing click friction changes how often you document your work, or if having an integrated ticket system changes how you track bugs, how does having a perfectly customized, portable, all-in-one system like Fossil actually change the fundamental nature of the software you end up building?
Oh, wow. When you aren't dragging around that heavy, rusty toolbox anymore, when your environment works intimately with you instead of against you, what are you suddenly free to create? It is something to seriously think about the next time you are setting up a workspace. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Fossil distributed code versioning system.
Enjoy experimenting with your new custom menus. And remember, don't be afraid to click that admin button and break a few things. The safety net is there for a reason.
You are looking at the picture of a default Fossil web user interface from my FossilMe repository. Reading left to right. Home, this is the anchor page, and you can put anything you want here. It is fully configurable. Timeline, this is a vertical display of all check-ins. It is in color and very informative. Files is a list, either packed or a tree showing all directories and files in the repository. Branches. This shows any changes of direction in your program and which branch you're in now. Tags, these are quick locators for important parts of your program. Forum, a meeting place for the members of this project to discuss ideas. Chat, similar to the forum but more real-time. Tickets, a full-on trouble ticket server. Wiki, this is for project documentation in HTML or Markdown or even plain text. Admin, the foundation of the repository. All of Fossil is configured here, including the web user interface menu. Logout, you can guess what this does. The blue menu with the black outline is my custom project menu, which I apply to every new Fossil repository and then build to suit during the project. This is the main menu configuration, accessed by clicking Admin, then click Configuration and you are there. Then scroll down until you see it. It creates the menu we have just discussed and it has a built-in editor. To make changes, just edit the menu and afterwards do not forget to click Apply Changes at the top of the page. Unless you have specifically changed the menu or theme already, this menu is named the default menu. It's that simple. And should you get stuck, Fossil has easy-to-use context-sensitive help built in to guide you. The slogan, Save Your Skin, takes on a whole new meaning here. After you have modified your menu, you can save it as a custom skin file right into the Fossil working directory that you are in right now. Just enter the string you see above, which is bounded by inverted commas, and the new skin file will appear. You can use this file to create the same menu customization in any other Fossil repositories you create. How to do that is explained next. After importing the test skin file, there is now a new menu. Can you see what has changed? For starters, there is a new menu named Docs. It is third from the left, and the forum and chat menus have disappeared. A solo developer does not need them cluttering up the menu, so they were deleted. Next, we will take a look at the modified test skin file, what changed, and the Fossil command that imports it. This is the modified test skin menu file. You can clearly see that the Docs menu has been added, and that the forum and chat menus deleted. The Fossil developers really could not have made the web user menu easier to change, in my opinion. After editing the menu, do not forget to click the button labeled Apply Changes. It is at the top of the configuration page you have been editing. Next, we will see the command used to import a new menu. Again, this is very simple. Just run the command you see above in inverted commas. Of course, the skin file must be in your Fossil working directory, and when you look at the web user interface after running this command, it will have changed. Don't forget to refresh the browser page to see it. This concludes the podcast. Thank you for watching. I hope you have found this podcast useful, and as always, if you have any constructive comments, I would like to read them, so drop them in the comments section below.